Hello everyone, welcome to another video on our Edsby Learning Evidence series. In this video we are going to focus more on organizing, editing, and analyzing evidence pieces. So one of the things that is helpful is showing teachers and other adults how to get there to the evidence section from the very beginning. So I'm on my demo site right now from my Edsby homepage. I decide which class I want to go in from the left-hand side. I usually use this math class here that I have set up. I go up to the right-hand side, click on Evidence. That brings me to my All Evidence tab. In a previous video, I had explained how this is an accumulation of all evidence pieces for my entire class. What I am looking to do is organize according to a particular student right now. So I click on the Organize tab. That brings me to my drop-down menu, and I can select a particular student from this drop-down list. That was as far as we got on a previous video in the series. So at this point, what I am looking at is pre-existing evidence pieces collected for my fictional student, Olivia Richardson. You'll notice that I have these different evidence pieces organized by array and problem solving. Those are tags. What I did is I collected the evidence for this particular student, and I was looking for a way to organize the evidence in a manner which would make sense for me. So applying words, in this case array, any evidence that I have selected that has to do with using arrays as multiplication, I have that organized under the tag array. Also problem solving. Anything that has to do with the problem solving task, I use the tag problem solving. It's just a way that makes sense for me. A nice easy way to keep all of this organized. So if I ever want to go in and find out all of the evidence that I have on Olivia that has to do with problem solving, by using that as a tag, it's easy for me to organize that. Other options for organizing are by expectation. We have the ability in the Edsby Learning Evidence format to add expectations. So you would be able to add specific expectations to all evidence pieces and be able to organize according to that as well. Frames are mostly meant for kindergarten. If you are teaching grade 1 and up and you are using frame, that basically gives you the strand is what it would do. By date, it will give you the month and the year at the top, and it will give you some text underneath and give you an idea of how many weeks ago or how many minutes ago you actually took that evidence, depending on how recent it might be. Scrapbooking, well, actually, let me just kind of click in and go into each of these. So I have not added expectations to my evidence. I have not added any frames, but if I did, it would show up right here. By date, as I had mentioned, it gives you the month and the year. Scrapbooking is a really neat option for organizing. Now, this might be something that's really neat for some, and for others, they might steer clear of that. You'll notice right now it looks like I have just one piece. This here, it looks like horseshoes in the upper left-hand corner, is called a new analysis. Let me come back to that in another moment. When you are in scrapbook mode, everything you have is layered one on top of the other in this section here. So you have to drag them apart. So if I click and drag, you'll see that all evidence items are layered one on top of the other. Scrapbooking is basically a way for you to visually organize your evidence pieces in a manner that makes sense to you. So for example, I could take these two that are both connected to problem solving, and I could organize them over here in a section. If I had other evidence pieces that were not related to arrays or problem solving, maybe I want to put them in a separate pile over here in this section. It's literally meant to be exactly like a scrapbook would work, where you have different organizational piles for your evidence. Again, it might be appealing for some, it might be too chaotic for others. Those are some of the examples that you have of how to organize your evidence. The new analysis piece, I had mentioned about possibly coming back to that one. What that means is it's just a way, if I click once on an evidence piece, it highlights new analysis. And if I click on this, if I am looking to add a little bit of detail and some anecdotal notes to an evidence item, and I also want to add some key learning, growth in learning, or next steps in learning, really digging deep and analyzing the evidence pieces and adding a lot more description to them. The analysis note is the way to do that. Even though it's not the topic of this video, if you are sharing the evidence and where it is shared with a parent and the student, an analysis note is not shareable to the parents or the students. So anything you add within an analysis note is private to the teacher creating it. So we'll get a little bit more in depth in that when it comes time for a further video. The other thing I wanted to talk to you about within this was editing. If I am looking, let me just click back into tag here. If I am looking to edit a piece of evidence after I've already gathered it, by clicking twice, I double click on this piece of evidence, it opens it back up. It shows me the original video that I have taken, the original observations that I have added. If I am looking later on to add expectations or additional tags or maybe a conversational item, I can go in now at this point and create and actually make my edits to this piece of evidence and then just make sure that I click save at the very end. So again, you can take your evidence of learning and then go in later on and edit it and add some more detail to it after that. Hopefully this video was helpful. Thanks. We'll see you during the next one.